Hi, my name is Aaron, this is my show Re-Education, and today I'm going to talk about how American culture is gun culture. Now, I spoke before about how it's all about selling security and fear. And I'm going to talk more about that today because I think it's a concept that really needs to be flushed out a little bit better. Now, what do I mean when I say they sell us security and fear? Well, as I stated before, they sell the Republicans or the right-wingers security by telling them that they need guns. And they sell them fear in that they think that people might take those guns away. And for the liberals, it's the same thing, it's just reversed. They sell them security in thinking that the guns are going to be regulated or taken away entirely, and they sell them fear by making them think that guns are far more dangerous than they actually are. That isn't to say that people with guns aren't dangerous, it's just that usually we shouldn't be blaming the individual for a societal problem. I'm going to posit today that guns are actually the glue that holds all of this together. They're the thing that holds together the vast majority of American culture. It's basically the center linking piece in the entire puzzle. Guns shouldn't be thought of as a tool or a weapon. They should be thought of as the spectacle. Longtime viewers know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the spectacle, but if you have any questions, I do have a video linked in the description box below explaining what the spectacle is. And the gun debate itself is what keeps this whole spectacle going. In our society, we never ask the real questions, like, why is our culture like this? All we ever do is accept the cause and then try to regulate the symptoms as if that's going to help something. And it won't. This is a real problem. At least in the United States it is. In the United States, in 2017, there was over 40,000 gun-related deaths. That's a lot. That's something that we should actually take into consideration, but trying to regulate things and trying to criminalize individuals for this doesn't solve the problem. Blaming an individual for a systemic problem is never a solution. It only ever compounds the problem. But what it does do is it makes us fight against one another. Makes us fight against each other instead of actually fighting the real problem, the system. The gun debate is not that simple. It's part of a large conglomerate of other debates. It's the glue that really does hold a lot of American culture together. When you think about guns, you don't think about just some farmer off in the middle of nowhere shooting at some foxes that are trying to break into his henhouse. You think about a lot of different things. You think about, how do we deal with gang violence? How do we obey authority? How do we protect our homes? How do we protect ourselves? How do we protect our country? Do we want to use them to hunt for food? Do we enforce the law with them or against them? And not only that, it also shows different things. It shows strength. It shows fear. It's a symbol of manhood, a symbol of death, a symbol of heritage, oppression, patriotism. It's a symbol of rebellion and terrorism. All of these things are all linked within the gun debate. It's not just a black and white issue. It's not just something that people can just slough off. It's complicated. It is a tool, and it is a weapon. They are fun, they are scary, they are cool, and they do kill. All of these things are all related to the larger picture. And each one of those arguments is not just as simple as saying, I'm pro-gun or I'm anti-gun. You can use the gun debate to justify many different things. And being pro or anti-gun says a lot about you as a person. It says a lot about your political ideologies, your belief structure, how you formulate your arguments. These things are all tied to the gun debate. And that's not a bug. That's the feature. The gun debate isn't like regular debates. It's not something that exists in a lot of other cultures. That's something that is very much specific to America. You don't see that in Canada. You don't see that in Europe. You just don't see it in many other places, where they revere the gun as though it's some sort of idol, some sort of god. People want to take pictures with them. You don't take pictures with your drill. People want to idolize these tools, these weapons, and carry them with them everywhere they go. They like to talk about them. They like to use them when they have no other reason to, because it can be fun. It can be exciting. It can be dangerous, and it can kill. These things can be used to protect and to defend. They are nothing more than selling you fear and security, which is exactly what I started talking about at the very beginning. In this society, we are constantly being sold things. And it's not just items. It's not just goods that we're being sold. It's ideologies. It's political beliefs. It's you. You are being sold to yourself every day. It's called cultivated identity. We create the identity that you have adopted, and then you do everything you can to become more of that identity, to buy more things that define that identity, to do more activities that define that identity. That is all part of this whole debate. And guns, for a lot of people, especially in America, is central to that cause. It's central to the spectacle. And when you're selling security and fear, there's no shortage in goods and services and ideologies that can be sold to you. The idea that holding a gun and keeping one with you all the time sells you the security that you're always going to be protected. But it also sells you the fear that there are other people out there that are doing the same, that might use their gun on you. It sells you the security that people around you are going to probably not have a gun as long as you have strong gun control laws. But it also sells you the fear that those who do are going to use it against you. It can also sell you the weapon itself, or sell you a security system. It can sell you bars on your doors, and it can even also sell you the idea of war. And war is one of the largest industries in America. You have to be sold that idea. You'll notice that in the news media, you don't see an anti-war movement. You have two parties, sure, the Democrats and the Republicans, but you don't have an anti-war party, at least not one that's worth a shit. You have people that are constantly defending it in different ways. And that basically just sells you on the idea that guns are okay as long as they're in the hands of the state. We have this debate constantly on who should and shouldn't own firearms, who should be allowed and who should be forbidden from actually owning these things. But we never actually, in a real way, discuss the use of firearms when it comes to the state. We don't have the discussion on whether or not police should use firearms or the military. We just accept those things as truths. We just accept those things as inevitable because you, personally, you might not be able to have a weapon. You might not be mentally fit or physically capable of using one properly. But the government certainly is. It always is. You can never question whether or not they need them. It's just accepted as fact. It's just accepted as truth. All of this is part of the spectacle. It's all part of regulating the symptoms while completely ignoring the causes. If they didn't have this culture of gun fetishism like they do in the United States, you wouldn't have this debate, at least not to the extent that you do. You wouldn't have it being tied to everything from farmers on their property hunting foxes to patriotism, to gang violence, to being a man. It just simply wouldn't exist. Something Bo from the Fifth Column said that really struck a chord with me was that we don't need gun control. We need self-control. Because when you regulate yourself, you're not going to need to regulate the weapon. At least that's the way I look at it. My name is Aaron. If you do get a chance, please check out my Patreon. Every dollar does help fund this show. And thanks for watching.